Where does the federal government stand right now as far as its debt, economic future, and the money that it's available to pay back? Well, the best way to answer that question is to actually equate the government to an individual, to somebody such as yourself or myself. Let's say Mr. Federal Government comes in to my office and has a seat, asks me to see if they can go ahead and get a mortgage. First thing I would do is I would ask to run their credit score. Now, how does a credit score get reported? We don't really know. The credit reporting agencies are not divulging the secrets, but we do know several factors that do play a role. We know the credit line plays a role, how much credit is available for an individual to lend money or borrow money against. We know that payment records are important. Are you on time? Have you been paying your bills on time, or have you been late? Also, we know what the income has to be and how much income is coming in. Currently, the way it stands, the federal government is almost at the max of what the debt ceiling is. $14 trillion. That is what the government and the country currently owes. Now, what does that mean? Essentially, that means at the moment, they owe almost as much as their credit line. If it was an individual sitting next to me and I was to name them Mr. Federal Government, I would essentially tell them, the fact that you owe almost as much as what your credit line is, it's not a good thing. Your credit score is going to be affected negatively. Next, how about your payment record? Have you been paying your bills on time? If we look at the history of the government and how often it pays its bills, it actually has a good track record. They pay their bills on time. I believe the history is that they've only missed 2 payments or so. One of it was during the Great Depression in the 1930s. So that's a good thing. That will increase the credit score of the government. What else? What is the income of the United States? How much money is being produced? Can the government afford to pay its debt? Well, if we really look at the numbers, as if I was looking at an individual's numbers, the government actually does somewhat well. The government's debt, as according to the GDP, is approximately 60%. That's almost better than any other country out there in the world. If we want to compare it to somebody like Japan, Japan's debt is 200% of their GDP. Overall, the federal government's credit score isn't that bad. I would give it approximately between a 600 and a 700. What does that mean? If they were to go to a bank right now and try to get a mortgage, most likely, if it's on the lower 600s, they'd have difficulties. If it's in the higher 600s, they may get that mortgage. At the end of the day, we're not in a bad situation, but we do need to fix it. The credit ceiling may need to rise if we want to get more money. Just like an individual that wants to get more money to buy a house, to finance a car, to lease a car, they need to have available credit. Right now, that's where we are.